We are very excited to have you join us for Quintype's webinar, where we'll be diving into latest updates and feature enhancements of our reader revenue platform, Accesstype. I'm Shraddha, Enterprise Business Manager at Quintype, and joining me today is Anirudh, our Product Manager for Accesstype, who will walk us through these updates. So even before we start, I'd like to inform you all to please use the chat window to send us any questions that you might have, and we'll try to address them during the presentation. And in case due to time constraints or any other reasons we are unable to answer your questions, we'll make sure that we are setting up one-on-one discussions with you and or just sending responses via emails. So this is the brief agenda for today's webinar. I'd like to start by taking a moment to express our gratitude to all of you for your ongoing support. At Quintype, we deeply value the inputs of our publishers and also learn from the broader publishing industry. It's from this combination of insights from our partners and industry trends that we are able to build new features to our platform and also continually improve on our platform. 2024 has been a very exciting year for Quintype. We've onboarded a lot of new publishers onto the platform. We've also launched our US regional office, acquired a leading social media analytics company, and significantly expanded our service offerings. As this webinar focuses on our subscription platform, I'd like to highlight that it has been a year of great progress for this platform as well. We've recently onboarded new publishers onto Accesstype, introduced several key enhancements, and focused on ensuring that Accesstype remains intuitive, user-friendly, and also easy to navigate without any complexities. All of this to help you grow and manage your subscriber base effectively. It's quite fascinating to see that people are now actually paying for content. Publishers are moving towards more sustainable revenue models, because we know that advertising models are usually fluctuating, right? So, and it's great to see that many are actually embracing this shift today. So in this today's session, Anirudh will cover various use cases and take you through each update, explaining their significance, the reasons behind the development, and also how publishers can benefit out of them. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Over to you, Anirudh. I'll quickly stop sharing my screen here.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shraddha. So I think we'll get started off. I'll share my screen and start off with the demo. Yeah. So first and foremost, as Shraddha mentioned, we have onboarded quite a few new clients this year to Accesstype. So majority of them had a use case of magazines where they have been publishing digital magazines, and they wanted to try out different kind of business strategies around magazine subscriptions. So we have made quite a few enhancements to our magazine subscription feature. I'll walk you through all of those one by one. So first and foremost, basic checks, which we already do in Accesstype, that is to create a group exclusively for magazines, in which we'll create multiple plans depending on the time duration and the asset level access that needs to be provided to the end user based on the plan the user purchases, right? So I'll quickly jump into one of the plans. So what I've configured here is a magazine subscription group in which I have added a monthly plan, which basically means that if a user subscribes to this plan, they will get access to magazines for a month. Okay. Now there were different use cases depending on the publishing time of the magazine, about restricting access to the end users, right? So to cover such cases, what we have done is we are allowing asset-based access for magazines over here. So I'll take you through all of them one by one. First and foremost, when you create a plan, there's an option over here called Edit Assets. As soon as you go over there, you will see multiple options over here, offering a site-wide access, story-wise access, story magazines, collections, etc. So since we're talking about magazines right now, we have to choose the story magazine type. Once that is done, we can, as you click on the value option, you will see a list of all the magazines that are configured in your CMS. So in my current demo instance, I have configured 2 magazines. So I'm seeing these 2 options. Let's say this subscription means that if the user pays 100 rupees, they'll get access to this particular magazine called 24 magazines. So I'll choose that magazine. Now comes in the different business use cases that I was talking about. The first one is a simple use case, which basically means that if I purchase this plan, I will get access to all the issues of this magazine called 24 magazine. So if you configure this option as anytime, that is basically a vanilla access where based on your subscription duration, you'll get access to this particular all the magazines for this 24 magazines. Moving next is the date range. Now, date range is something which is used for static archives. So there are use cases in magazines where, let's say you are a magazine publication house and you have archival articles from the year 1990 onwards, right? So in such cases, to create an exclusivity, what publishers have done is they have put magazines, let's say from the year 1990 to 2000 behind an archival paywall, and that's a separate plan you need to purchase. It won't come up with your existing subscription. So it's kind of an upsell strategy where this is exclusive content, archival content. And if you want access to this content, you can configure it over here. So as you see here, let's say all you need to do is just mention the year over here. Let's say I want to give access to my archival magazines from 1990 to 2000. As soon as you configure this, what would happen is only the people who have this particular plan will get access to the archives. So in a way, archival magazines have an exclusive value and can be also, it can be sold as an upsell to your current existing subscribers. That's the second use case for static archives. The final one is published since subscription activation. So what this basically means is one of the publishers had a business use case where, let's say I have purchased this monthly subscription and my subscription will go on from the 1st of Feb to the 28th of Feb. And I publish one issue of this particular magazine every week. So technically, I should be able to get access to 4 magazines. So what this particular plan does is it will check your subscription duration. In this case, it's 1st of Feb to 28th of Feb. You will get access to only those magazines which are published in between 1st of Feb to 28th of Feb. This essentially means that you won't get, as a subscriber, you won't get access to the archival magazines. Neither will you get access to something which is going to be published in the future. So what this does is this restricts your magazine access to the time duration of your subscription. So to satisfy such type of business use cases, publishers have used this publish in subscription activation. So in a way, it prevents the user from accessing the archives, as well as the user can't read the magazines which are going to be published in the future unless they renew the subscriptions. So these are the 3 different types of magazine business use cases which we are solving. Now, one more use case had come up recently where the publisher wanted to sell individual issues of a magazine. So basically, instead of charging the user 100 rupees for the subscription of a magazine, what the publishers wanted is an ability where the users can purchase individual issues at a discounted price or at a lower price point. For such cases, we have a paper asset module, which basically means that any kind of singular assets, be it issues of a magazine, or let's say be it a single story on your website, all those things can be configured in the paper asset module. So I'll move there and quickly showcase how it can be done. So as you can see here, it's similar to creating a group and plan. I've already created a magazines issue over here. So what this basically means is, in this particular paper asset group, let's say I'm setting up a duration of 1 month. Okay. Similarly, I can add a price point of, let's say, 30 rupees for a single magazine issue. Moving ahead, if I click here, the steps are same. I have to choose types, issues of a magazine. The reason is, since you are selling individual issues of a magazine, you have to choose this. Same thing will come up here. You have to choose the magazine type, the name of your magazine, and the same 3 rules are applied over here. So what this basically means is, all the issues of this 24 magazine will be priced at an individual price point of 30 rupees. So let's say if there are 4 issues published for this magazine, all the issues will be priced at 30 rupees, right? So in this way, the 3 cases that I spoke about before in the magazine subscriptions covers the subscription as a whole, where you will get access to multiple issues of a magazine. Whereas in this case, this would cover singular purchase of a magazine issue.
Anirudh, there's a question that has popped up in the chat. Can we offer tiered subscriptions for options for our magazines, such as digital only, print only, or combined packages? And how can we manage these different subscription models effectively?
Okay, sure. I will cover that. So yeah. Um, so to address your first question, yes, we can create different kind of groups of print, digital, and print plus digital. Few of our publishers are currently doing it. So the first step is to, let's say I have made this as a regular magazines group. First and foremost, I'll name this as print magazines. And similarly, I'll create a group for digital. And the third one will be for print plus digital. Now, one more thing, since we're talking about print here, one aspect that comes into picture is the publisher will need the address of the user so that the print magazines can be delivered on time. So for such use cases, let's say if you're having a print magazine, you have this option of custom fields over here where you can just fill up print relevant details, maybe address line 1, address line 2, what else? Pin code can be other option. So you can set a list of all the address related parameters you want to capture over here. And once you save this, while the user is purchasing a subscription, before the payment itself, it will ask for all these details so that these details are captured in the backend, and the admin of the publishing organization can look at the Accesstype dashboard, pull out the information, and send out the print copies accordingly. So that is how print magazines use case would work. And as you mentioned about managing them separately, so since you are creating a separate group for each type of subscription, be it print, digital, print plus digital, the analytics for all of that will be segregated. So in that manner, you'll be able to identify what is the revenue attribution to print, digital, print plus digital, etc.
Thanks a lot, Anirudh.
Sure. Yes. Next, I'll move to group access. So to mention group access is basically it's to offer subscriptions to a bulk group either via a domain-based access or via IP-based access. So domain-based access is basically if you are coming in from a certain domain, you will get access to subscriptions directly. IP-based is if you're coming via a certain IP address, you will get access to subscriptions directly.
Anirudh, can you also give us some examples of how these group subscriptions work? I mean, I guess this information could be helpful for the audience here to understand the concept better.
Okay, cool. So I'll start off maybe with the business use case, how it is used. Many a times what happens is publishers would strike a deal with, let's say, some college, a business B school, and what they would offer is we can give you our subscriptions to, let's say, 600 of your students. Let's say the B school has 600 students. They will say that B school can purchase a subscription of a particular publication house, and the students will be able to read all the articles for that publication house. So in this case, there are 2 ways how it can be done. Let's take the first case where I'm talking about domain-based access. So when you are studying in a B school, all the students have an email ID which has the college name in the domain, right? So for such cases, what happens is you can just create a domain-based group over here. So all you have to do is you have to create a group and plan, which similar to how you create a normal group where you add the pricing details, time duration of the subscription, etc. Post that, there's a section over here in customers called organizations. You have to go over here and you have to add a organization this would consist of, let's say, you will add the organization name, the primary email address, and the domains which need to be whitelisted. So let's say the domain name of a student is, I'll take my case, anirudh@college.com. So college.com is the domain of the particular college. As soon as you add college.com over here, and you should assign a group to it. So let's say I will assign a group over here. Okay. As soon as I assign a group, it will give me two options, domain based and IP based. If I choose domain based, and I'll put a limit of 600, the example that we are using in our case. As soon as we do that, what would happen is the subscription will be activated for users who are coming in from that particular domain, which is college.com. And the users don't have to purchase a subscription separately. As soon as they log in with their college email ID, the paywall will be, they will be able to access all the paywall content, and they don't have to go through the whole subscription purchase flow because the college has already taken care of it. Similarly, you can see how many users have accessed this particular subscription. You will see a users and user limit over here, which would basically help you identify how many students of the college are actually accessing the website. Now, what this basically means is, as a publisher, you have this data and you can always go back to the organization and talk about this, leverage this data, and do the next action steps. Now, that is a domain-based access. If we talk about IP-based access, that is basically if the college wants to restrict the access to these articles only from their campus, right? That is one of the other use cases. In such use cases, what you have to do is the colleges have a IP address. You have to whitelist that IP in Accesstype. Static IPs are supported for now. As soon as you add that, what will happen is anyone coming in from that IP address will be able to access your content. What this basically means is, one advantage in this case is the user doesn't even have to log in such cases. So the user flow becomes even more smoother. So if you are in the college campus and you want to access this, you will be able to access it directly without even logging. So yeah, from a business point of view, this can be considered more of a B2B subscription because you're striking a deal with the college, and then the college is distributing the subscriptions to the end users. So the business use case for this group subscriptions is, if you want to sell B2B subscriptions, if you want to move on to that particular revenue model, this is the way to do.
Okay, thanks, Anirudh. But one quick follow-up. I've noticed that many people get confused between group and bundled subscriptions. I think it's because of the terminology, just sounds very similar to me. So, but in reality, we know that these use cases are quite different. So it'll be nice if you can just give us a brief differentiators how group is different from, bundled subscription.
Sure. Group subscriptions is something which we have already discussed. Bundle subscriptions is something, there are two types of bundles. One is an internal bundle, second is an external bundle. So internal bundle are the ones where, let's say, I spoke about the magazine use case. And let's say if you want to add multiple magazines into one group. So that is basically you're internally bundling your different subscription products. So that is possible in Accesstype through here. So if you see here, I have in this particular group, uh, I have added 24 magazines as well as automation magazine. What this basically means is I have two types of magazines. Each of them can be purchased individually, but also they can be purchased as a group. That is the internal bundling. External bundling is basically two of our clients have done an external bundle where both are different publication houses, but both of them are selling their subscriptions in a joint way. So which basically means is, even if I subscribe to one of the websites, I will automatically get access to the second website. So that is external bundling use case, where multiple publishers join as a combined force and kind of sell the subscriptions in a joint way, where users will be able to access multiple websites with just one subscription. So from the user point of view, even from a monetary point of view, you are getting the value of multiple websites at a discounted price, as well as you're getting multiple perspectives to look at. Like, you don't have to go and manage multiple subscriptions as a user. In a single subscription itself, you will be able to manage multiple subscriptions.
Okay, Anirudh, just one question that has popped up in the chat. For group subscriptions, how is the limit of users enforced?
So while creating a group, I'll just quickly show it again. Uh, in the organizations, if you see, there's while creating this organization, you have an option of setting up a limit. So let's say so you have this user limit, I can just enter a limit and the system will automatically keep on counting how many users are being added. And that number, you can see it over here. So in this case, it shows 0 out of 10. But let's say if you have configured 600 and 100 people have accessed, it will show 100 out of 600. Does that answer the question?
Yes, yes, Anirudh.
Sure. I'll move ahead. Next bit, which we have made is subscription upgrades. So basically, it's pretty much straightforward. If you want your current subscribers to move to a higher plan, subscription upgrades come into picture. Now, subscription upgrades are something which depends on the payment gateway that you're using, right? So if you see here in Accesstype, the process is pretty much simple. You just have to, in the plan switching page of a particular plan, you have to toggle on the upgrade and you can add multiple plans over here. So in this case, I am adding a yearly magazine plan to a monthly magazine plan, which basically means that all the users who have a monthly active subscription will get an option of upgrading to a yearly plan.
Anirudh, there's a very interesting question that has come up in the chat. If my user upgrades the plan, will they get access to additional benefits immediately?
Okay, yeah. So on that particular point, so there are two ways in which you can enable subscriptions. If you enable proration, that basically means that the users will get access to the subscription immediately. One more caveat over here is, let's say I have a monthly subscription from 1st of Feb to let's say 28th of Feb. So I've already paid the 100 rupees for a month, right? So if I decide to switch the subscription midway, let's say on 14th of Feb, so instead of charging 1000 rupees for the yearly plan, since I've already paid 100 and I have only used up 50% of the amount, the user will be charged 950 rupees. So the price will be adjusted as per the remaining time duration of your current subscription, as well as you will get access to the yearly subscription immediately.
Anirudh, just curious, what options are available to incentivize subscribers to upgrade? And is there a way to track the success of these upgrade campaigns?
Yes. So how to incentivize? Yeah. So what happens is, so here what I've done is I've just simply, added the yearly plan, 1000 rupee plan as an upgrade option, right? Uh, what this means is on my current website, I'll see two plans irrespective of my subscription. 100 rupee plan for a monthly plan and 1000 rupees for a yearly plan. So if you want to incentivize, one way is to give a discount, right? So in such cases, what can be done is you can create a separate yearly plan specifically for upgrades, which won't be visible to your regular users. Okay. In this case, what you can do is instead of pricing it at 1000, maybe you price it at 800 rupees. Correct. So this basically means that if you are already an existing subscriber, you are getting discount when you're upgrading to a yearly plan, versus if you're a one first time user or you do not have an active subscription, you will be charged 1000 rupees. So from a pricing point of view, uh, you are segregating your users into two different baskets. One is active subscriptions and one is no subscriptions. So if you want your active people who are having active subscriptions to move to the next level, one way is to create that different plan which will be only be visible to your users who have an active subscription. So one is price point. Second is you have options like over here in custom attributes, where you can just name this as discount and maybe put a strike through over here or something of that sorts. Basically, from a marketing point of view, the changes that you can do in the front end can be controlled from here. Sure. I'll move on to the next topic. So next topic is paid trial. So paid trial is
Just so sorry for stopping you there. Even before you get started with paid trials, I remember getting few questions from publishers regarding free and paid trial. So when you start talking about it, could you also talk about the difference between these two?
Sure. So free and paid trials, as the name suggests, free trial is the one where if you enable a free trial, the first cycle or the time duration that you specify would be free for the user. And once that time duration ends, the actual plan amount will kick in and the users will be charged that amount. In case of paid trial, instead of giving it for free in the initial days, what you can do is you can set up a trial price. So let's say if my actual price is $79, maybe I am offering a trial price of $50, which basically means that you are not giving away the first trial period for free. You are giving it at a discounted price. Now, depending on the use case, business use case, it can be decided which one to use. So what we have seen is if the website is more of a generic website and it gives news across multiple topics, a free trial is suggested because the user base is high in such cases and people would want to try and experiment as to which of the sections do they like of that particular website, right? So in such cases where the volume of users is high, free trial is suggested. Paid trial is used if you have niche content. So let's say you are a publication specifically focusing on finance, movies, or something of that sorts. In such cases, you have a niche audience that you are targeting. So might as well go via the paid trial route, because one more advantage in using paid trial is if you're using paid trial, it means you are getting the leads that you're getting are more of quality leads. So in free trial, there are cases where people might use it for free and then cancel it. But in paid trial, as you are charging a small amount upfront itself, you know that these are quality leads and they actually want to drive the subscriptions. So uh, that's the major business use case difference between paid trial and free trial.
Okay.
Ab- About trial price, so basically, as I mentioned, you can just put a 50 USD over here, and as soon as this is done, the paid trial will be activated. So right now, we are using paid trial for Stripe payment gateway and Paytrail. These are the two major use cases in like majorly for Europe and US we have seen. So we have integrated for those. Eventually, based on publisher feedback, we plan to integrate for other gateways as well. Um, I'll move on to the next topic, which is metering. So we have made some enhancements to the metering. Uh, so to talk about metering, what I would say is metering can be split into two parts. One is metering for anonymous users. Second is the metering for logged in users. So what you can do is the strategy that is generally followed is first you show a registration wall to an anonymous user so that the user is not taken aback by directly seeing a paywall. So maybe give away 3 free stories and after that show a registration wall. Once the user registers, then you move on to for logged in people and you can show 3 more free stories and after that you can show a paywall. So you are taking the user through a journey where you are allowing 3 free articles, then the user will log in, they'll explore more, and after that they will hit a paywall instead of directly seeing a paywall when they come on your website. Uh, and we are controlling this metering across multiple devices, as in uh, if you log into the website once, obviously your metering will get started, and irrespective of whether you consume the content in mobile or web, uh, if you have set up a limit of 3, it will be exhausted. So if you read one article in web and 2 in mobile, the limit will be exhausted and vice versa as well.
Anirudh, one question. How can metering be effectively used for subscriber acquisition?
Okay. Yeah. So to talk about metering and subscriber acquisition, what I would want to cover is so basically you can run different type of experiments and try to identify what works for a publication house, right? So it depends from publication to publication, but I'll tell you one of the use cases that we have seen and helped with. Uh, so for one of the publishers, initially the metering amount was set to 3 free stories, and we are seeing that at that point of time the average new subscriptions in a month was around 65 to 70. Looking at the analytics data, we proposed changing the metering from 3 to 6, basis on that, what we saw was a small uptick where after 2 months of this experiment, the new subscriptions went from 65 to 70 to around 85. Okay, so what this basically meant is the users got more time to evaluate the content since more free stories were offered. And eventually, some people who might have dropped off after reading just 3 articles, maybe after reading 5 articles, they have converted, right? So it moved to around 85-ish. Now, since I also spoke about paid trial before this, so since this was a US based publisher, so what happened is after this, we implemented paid trial, and using the combination of metered wall settings and paid trial, after this experiment ran for 3 months, eventually the new subscription acquisition went up to around 120 subscribers per month. So yeah, depending on use case to use case, publishers can experiment what works in their case, because each publisher's audience and the relation with the audience is quite different. So based on that, and by experimenting different methods, this can be optimized for subscriber acquisition. Yes. Moving ahead next, I will move on to coupons. So basically, one of the publishers had a use case of adding coupons for the recurring plans, and this coupons basically meant they wanted to offer. They had a monthly plan, and they wanted to offer the first month for free, first month at a discount of 20%, and thereafter the price will go back to the normal prices. Now, for this particular use case, there was also a caveat where these coupons were available only to certain set of users. Like the coupon was not visible on the website. They had chosen a certain set of users, and they had exclusively handed out these, coupon codes to those users. So to satisfy that use case, what we have done is we have integrated with uh, recurring coupons for the Stripe payment gateway. So all you need to do is in Accesstype is uh, in a subscription plan, what you have to do is you have to add a attribute which will talk about this particular plan is allowed for Stripe recurring coupons, right? So let's say if I add a custom attribute over here. Yeah. I have to just mark it as allow Stripe coupons and text as true. As soon as I do this, the Stripe coupons will be activated. And then you have to go to the Stripe dashboard, set up the coupons however you wish to, like 10% discount, 20% discount, or, instead of in percentage, you can also set up discounts in dollars, right? So $1, $2, etc. You can set up all of those. And as soon as you connect all of this and save the plan, in your Stripe checkout page, you will see a screen like this where you will see an option to add a promotion code. So this basically means that depending people who have the promo code can enter the promo code over here and then get a discount.
Anirudh, since we are talking about Stripe, can you also talk about which payment gateways we've recently integrated and which one do you think is by far the most effective one?
Sure. So talking about payment gateways, yes. So yeah, recently we have integrated Paytrail payment gateway, which is quite famous in the Europe region, where most of the publishers prefer the Paytrail payment gateway, and it supports exclusively the euro currency. So that is one of the gateways we have introduced recently. The other one is we have made a few tweaks into the Apple integration to cover different use cases. So Apple Pay integration enhancements is something which we have done recently. To answer your second question, yeah, about success rates, yeah, Stripe is the one which we have seen which has the highest success rates. Uh, so that is the payment gateway that is generally suggested to most of the publishers because it has good success rates. Yes. So moving on to the next bit. As I was talking about the enhancements made to the payment gateways, so we have also introduced the ability to add a custom grace period for each of the payment gateway. So to add more context, grace period is something where, let's say I have a subscription from 1st of Feb to 28th of Feb. So even if I don't renew, or for some reason, technical reason, or your card was declined, or due to any such reasons, if your subscription is not renewed on 28th, the access is not revoked immediately. The user will still have access for, let's say, 3 to 4 days, depending on the grace period configured in a Accesstype and payment gateway. So grace period is basically allowing your users some extra leeway so that they can renew their subscription. So the subscription, they won't lose access immediately, but depending on the number of days that have been configured as grace period, the access will be defined. So ideally, what is suggested is, in case of grace period, whatever grace period is configured at the payment gateway level, same can be configured in Accesstype as well. So for example, if it's using Google Pay, so in Google Pay, I think it's recommended 7 days as the recommended grace period. In such cases, you just need to reach out to the Quintype support team and tell them we need to configure 7 days grace period for Google Pay. So that can be addressed in that manner. So the idea is to keep both of the grace periods in sync so that you do not lose out, or there is no discrepancy in the subscription process.
Okay. Anirudh, are there any best practices for setting up grace periods, just to minimize potential disruptions and also confusion for the users?
Yes. So first and foremost is, yeah, like we should allow some grace period to the users. As I mentioned, there might be multiple reasons why the subscription might not have renewed or they have purchased. So first of all is allowing the grace period for all subscriptions. Second is, as I mentioned, keeping the grace period on the payment gateway and Accesstype in sync, so that there is no discrepancy or people don't lose out on subscriptions.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Moving on next, so regarding, so one more feature that we have built is allowing custom migrations. So what we have seen in the recent few months is, once we are onboarding new publishers onto Accesstype, as they're coming on from a different system, there have been different use cases of migrations which have come up, right? So one simple use case that people see is, since they're moving the systems, they would want to give some extended time duration to the end user while moving their subscriptions. So let's say if they're on a 1 month subscription, maybe they'll give a 15-day extension of sorts, right? So for such cases, whenever migrations happen, we have the ability to support these custom migrations where, depending on if the gateway supports it, we can facilitate all this and give that extra time period to the end users. Now, since we're talking about migrations as well, one more, and I'm talking about extending the subscriptions. So we also have built a feature where you can extend subscriptions for your one-time users. So to give you an example and the business use case for that, I'll just quickly pull up a subscriber. So yeah, let's say this is the subscription and it's going to end on 13th of March 2025. It's a 1 month subscription, right? Let's assume, since we are started off with the magazine use case, let's assume this is a print magazine subscription, and for some reason the last issue was not delivered to me on time, correct? So to make up for it, the publisher might extend the subscription by, let's say, 7 days or 15 days, correct? So for such use cases, we have an option over here where you can extend a subscription. uh, Either you can extend it indefinitely, which is seldom the use case, but we have given an option in case if someone wants to do it. But mostly it's a custom date use case where, instead of expiring on March 13th, maybe I'll give a 7-day extension and mark it as 20th of March. So as soon as this is done, you will see an extended indicator over here, as well as you will see subscription extended till date. So this way, for the use cases where you want to offer extended subscription, to make up for something, so this feature can be used where you can extend subscriptions of a user. Sure. So next, last bit, what we have built around is, so there are a lot of times when after the subscriptions happens, publishers want to identify which articles have converted the subscriptions, and how the users are interacting with the content, etc. Correct. So all of this we have covered in the subscription intelligence section. That is a totally new feature from scratch that we have built, and there are custom dashboards set up for publisher for each of the use cases. So I'll move. These are third-party dashboards which we have set up for all our publishers based on need basis. So I'll move on to the most common use cases that we have come across and what all different kind of subscription intelligence charts we have covered to offer insights to the publishers. So if I go here, so first and foremost is the visitors funnel. So this is more from a high level point of view where you want to measure the health of your audience, right? So what this chart would talk about is first and foremost, what are the total unique users on the website, out of which how many have logged in. Uh, After login, maybe after scrolling for a few articles, they hit a paywall, then they will visit the plans page, which is basically the subscription plans page. After you visit the subscription plans page, some people might drop off, some others might attempt to subscribe. That is actually choose a plan and click on the subscribe button. So that is the next segment of users you need to look at, attempted to subscribe. And finally, people who have successfully subscribed to the website. So this is broken down into these 5 parts so that depending on the concentration of users in different stages of the funnel, the publishers can make a call as to what to do next. So for example, let's say if you're seeing unique users are a lot of unique users, but logged in users is a very small proportion of that. So maybe the first step would be to convert those unique users into logged in users. So as I mentioned in the metering strategy, how that ties up here is instead of directly showing up a paywall, what can be done is you can show a registration wall first so that the user moves into the next part of the funnel and converts into a logged in user. And then after that, give few more free articles, then the whole things that we discussed about. So depending on the number of users at each stage of the funnel, the publishers can experiment and identify what kind of where do you need to focus on and which part of the funnel do you need to optimize. um, Moving ahead, next is one of the topics which most of the subscription publishers want, that is an attribution or to identify which articles have actually led to conversion, right? So what this chart talks about is the list of top articles that has led to subscription. Okay. So over here, it's pretty much easy to read it. So basically it will get the right column is about list of articles. And the left one is about the number of unique users that have converted after reading this article, right? Uh, for this use case, basically, once you have this data, then now the next question that comes up is, what should I do with this, right? So first thing is it's an feedback for the editorial team for sure that these are the articles which are working fine. Because from whatever we have seen till now is high number of page views doesn't necessarily correlate to articles that are leading to subscription. So in most of the cases, the articles that lead to subscription might not have very high page views, right? So that is one of the insights that we get. Second one is using this data. As you are seeing, these are the, let's say, top 5 articles which are driving most number of conversions. So maybe you can create a collection of sorts and put it on your website as subscriber picks or subscriber favorites or something of that sorts, so that these articles get more exposure. And maybe you can test out a hypothesis that if these articles are visible to everyone, it might increases the chances of conversion, because you have from historical data you're seeing that these articles have converted. So different kind of interpretations can be made out of it, and you can test out different strategies and see what works the best for you. Now, once we know which articles have led to subscription, the next point from maybe from a marketing point of view would be to get a drill down on each user to identify which campaigns or marketing campaigns have led to these conversions, right? So to cover that, there is this chart of user conversion details. This will give you a quick overview of how many days was required to convert a particular user. That is basically the moment from when the user landed on your website first to the moment when the user was converted. So in this case, let's say this example case, the user converted on the same day. the last guy converted maybe 11 days later, etc. So this gives you one of the data points is that, and time to conversion is something which is an important metric in subscription based business. Next bit is you will see details like which was the device from which subscription happened, is it desktop, mobile, etc. And from a marketing point of view, so let's say you are running an email campaign, right? So you'll be able to identify over here that this particular user was converted due to this particular email campaign number 82. So you'll be able to see that. One other kind of marketing channel is your push notifications. So even that you'll be able to see that as soon as the user has clicked on the push notification, and the one signal is the push notification service provider name. Based on this, you'll be able to identify which marketing channels are working best for you, and you can decide on the marketing budget as to where more budget can be allocated and which campaigns are working well. Yes. So till now we have spoken about all the metrics which happens post subscription, right? Which is basically in a retrospective point of view, you are trying to identify what has worked. Now, one more point to add is if you want to look at new acquisition, so you'll need to look at non-subscribers and their consumption patterns on the website. So for such use cases, we have this chart where it will give you a list of all non-subscribers who have visited the subscription page in last 30 days. So what this basically means is the hypothesis over here is if people have visited the subscription page, there is a chance that they were interested to subscribe or at least were curious to know what is this about, right? So you will get a list of all the users and the view count and the last viewed article. Using this data, what we have seen is some of the people would do a custom email campaign where since you know which was the last article read, they might pull out this data and send out custom emails or custom campaigns to these users. Maybe different offering discounts or giving a month or two free, something of that sort, basically depending on the business use case. Different kind of strategies can be done to acquire these non-subscribers. Again, it's a hypothesis and it needs to be tested out, and it works differently for different publishers. So the only way to test it out is you need to actually run the tests for a month or two, and then based on the feedback, you have to tweak it again and run the tests again. So it's a continuous iterative process. The final one is the RFV chart, which is basically recency, frequency, volume. This is a quite famous metric used by Financial Times as well, where they segregate the users into different buckets based on the recency, frequency, and volume of the user. So quickly to define what each of these mean is recency means, I'll take this example. Here the recency number is 1, which basically means that I have visited your website just 1 day ago. So how recently have you visited the website? The 4 means I have visited the website 4 days ago. Frequency means in the last 30 days, I have visited the website 20 times. And volume means basically number of articles consumed in those days, right? So using this data, you will get deeper insights into your user behavior, be it your non-subscribers or your subscribers. And using this data, this is something which you can get some insights from and accordingly plan your next action steps. Yeah, so these are the custom charts that are offered to everyone. Other than that, there are a lot of custom chart requests from publishers. Depending on feasibility, we check the feasibility of tracking those parameters and giving those insights. And post that, if it is feasible, we create those custom dashboards also, which is specific to a particular publisher.
Thank you, Anirudh. I mean, this is actually very interesting. Subscription, I'm just trying to sum it up. Subscription intelligence really gives us the ability to dive deep into reader behavior, helping you to see who's genuinely interested in your content versus those who's just window shopping, right? It's all about understanding what keeps people coming back and what drives them to take that next step. And also, what struck me listening to this is that it's not just about measuring audience behavior, it's about understanding it. It's like having a conversation with your readers, even if it's just a one sided one. So, RFV gives us the cues to listen better, to understand the subtle shifts in the engagement, and to anticipate what our readers need even before they know about it themselves. So, this isn't just a data on the spreadsheet. This is like a roadmap to building stronger relationships with your readers one personalized interaction at a time. So this is what ultimately drives your subscriptions, and not just subscriptions but also true loyalty. So I think I got it right, Anirudh, did I?
Yes, Shraddha, you have summed up pretty nicely. Yeah. So that is basically the gist of the whole subscription intelligence, where each chart would give you a different kind of insight, and you're strengthening your relationship with your audience.
Great. Thank you, Anirudh. I guess we are towards the end of the webinar now. Maybe you can stop sharing your screen,
Yes, I'll do that.
share mine.
So yeah, just one point to add before I stop. So yeah, as I mentioned, depending on the custom requests, we build different kind of dashboards. So quite recently, we have seen publishers onboarding for e-paper as well on their websites. So we are building the custom integration for e-paper, which will help you track different metrics related to subscription and the behavior of audience with e-paper. Sure.
Okay, I'll quickly share my screen. Yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground today regarding Accesstype's key upgrades throughout 2024. We focused on several core areas. First, expanding revenue opportunities with features like paper asset monetization, magazine subscriptions, group subscriptions. Second, optimizing the subscriber experience with subscription upgrades, cross-device metering, and third, offering payment flexibility through coupons and paid trials. And finally, providing you with greater control and deeper insights through subscription intelligence. So this actually reminds me of something that I read in an so sorry. In an article by a publisher. They mentioned that their best content is always behind the paywall, but audience will never get to know about the best content if they don't even have the possibility to try it, right? So this is why they experiment with different models every time. So it's a perfect example of how the upgrades that we've discussed today are not just about monetization, but also giving users the chance to experience your best content in new ways and different ways. So not just this, but we've designed our platform in such a way that it creates a smoother, more engaging experience for your subscribers, right from their initial interaction with your content to their ongoing loyalty. So we believe these advancements will make a difference in supporting your growth, in providing valuable audience insights. So yeah, this brings us to the end of the webinar, but Anirudh, we have some time left, and I see there are a lot of questions coming up in the chat. So I'll quickly stop sharing my screen and maybe we can take some questions.
Sure, Shraddha. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Anirudh, one question though. This is not really related to our updates, but very important to our publishers. How do we handle complex migrations?
Yes. So migrations, we have had a few different kind of migrations in the last few months, where users are coming in from different products. To handle such kind of cases, what we have done is we take it on a case-to-case basis, and depending on which gateway they are using, we suggest the best approach ahead. So sometimes it's the gateway that needs to help out the publisher. Sometimes Accesstype itself can do it, but till now, from whatever migrations we have done, one thing we have ensured is there is minimal drop off of current subscribers, because churn is something which no one wants to look at. And what we are ensuring is we are minimizing the churn as far as possible.
Okay, thank you. One other question. Can specific categories of stories put behind registration or paywall?
Yes, we can put specific categories of your website behind a paywall, which basically means in Accesstype, as I showed the magazine module, where you can put magazines behind a paywall. Similarly, you can put specific sections as well. I am assuming categories over here mean sections. So let's say you have a sports section that can be put specifically behind paywall at a different price point. Similarly, let's say politics section can be put behind, or let's say you have created a or curated a custom collection of stories that can be put behind paywall specifically. So multiple kind of options are available to put it behind a paywall.
Okay, thank you. How can I export the data of the users who have used the paywall content for business analysis? Maybe this would be our last question, Anirudh. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, sure. So yeah, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes. How can I export the data of the users who have used the paywall content for business analysis?
Yes. So that superset dashboards that I just showcased, that will give you an insight into a high level insight into. You have an option of downloading a CSV from there, which will give you the user ID and the article that was read. Now, if you want to do further analysis where you want drill down data on each user for every day on each article they have read, for those cases, we have an option of giving the raw data as well to the publishers, where we'll send out the raw data to them, and over there they can get a detailed row by row report which will talk about this particular user, which are the articles read in the last 30 days, at what point of time, etc., etc.
Thank you, Anirudh. This brings us to the end of the webinar. I know we have few other questions that were left unanswered. We have all of that recorded, so please be assured that we'll send emails to you, and also my team, account management team, will make sure that we are following up with you for one-on-one discussions. We'll make sure all the questions are answered. But yeah, before we end the session, just a quick reminder about our next webinar happening next Thursday on Feb 20th, same time. This session will focus on latest updates to a head page builder platform, along with the updates of our React Native mobile apps. And that will be presented by our colleagues Dhanya and Mansi from the business and product management teams. And also you'll receive a brief survey after today's webinar where you can share any feedback or questions that you have. And as I mentioned, we'll reach out to you for sure for setting up some discussions. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I hope this session was very informative and productive for all of you. And we look forward to connecting with everybody next week, same time. Thank you so much. Have a good day.